They told you the robots were coming for factory workers. They told you truck drivers and cashiers should be worried. They told you the white-collar professionals were safe. They were wrong, and the people who built this system know it. But here is what nobody is telling you. This is not just about losing your job. This is about losing your relevance entirely, forever. And the window to do something about it is closing faster than any financial crisis you have ever lived through. Elon Musk said it out loud. He warned that we are entering a time when no job is safe. Most people heard that and nodded politely, then went back to scrolling. They did not understand the brutal weight of that sentence, because Musk was not talking about unemployment. He was talking about something far worse. He was talking about a new, permanent class of human beings, people who are not just out of work, but completely unbeschäftigbar, unemployable, not because they are lazy, not because they lack education, but because the system no longer needs them at all. The historian Yuval Noah Harari has a name for this group. He calls them the useless class. And before you convince yourself that label does not apply to you, understand this. The useless class is not defined by income or education level. It is defined by one brutal question. Does the system still need your labor? If an artificial intelligence can do what you do, faster, cheaper, without breaks, without benefits, without complaints, then economically speaking, you are already a member of the useless class. You just have not received the memo yet. Think about what that actually means in historical terms. For the past 200 years, the entire social contract of Western civilization has been built on a simple exchange. You give your time and your labor. The system gives you money and security. Democracy, social safety nets, retirement systems, pension funds. All of it was built on one foundational assumption, that human labor is irreplaceable. That assumption is being shattered in real time. With the arrival of artificial general intelligence, the kind of system that does not just perform narrow tasks, but can reason, plan, diagnose, negotiate, and create. The entire contract is being torn up unilaterally. When an artificial intelligence can outperform 99% of human professionals in law, medicine, engineering, finance, and creative work simultaneously, the question stops being, what job will survive? And becomes, why does the system need humans at all? We are watching the decoupling of intelligence from consciousness. For all of human history, those two things were inseparable. To act intelligently, you had to be alive. You had to be human. That is no longer true. We have created something alien, an intelligence that requires no sleep, forms no unions, files no complaints, and never has a bad day. And this is producing a split in humanity that most people are not ready to confront. On one side of that split, you have a tiny elite, call them the gods. These are the people who own the algorithms, the people who control the data centers, the people who own the energy sources that power the machines. For this group, wealth will grow toward infinity. There is no ceiling on what they can accumulate when the means of production requires almost no human input at all. On the other side stands everyone else, the mass of people who will depend on whatever scraps the gods decide to distribute. A universal basic income to keep the system from collapsing, a digital pacifier to keep the population docile. We will be degraded from productive citizens to something closer to pets. Well-fed, kept entertained through virtual reality headsets and algorithmic dopamine loops, but without power, without purpose, and without any meaningful say in the world being built around us. This is the world Musk warns about when he says that money will lose its meaning. When robots can manufacture everything, the cost of physical goods approaches zero. That sounds like paradise. But in a paradise where you are not needed, you are not a guest, you are baggage. The middle class, as we know it, is not a law of nature. It was a historical accident, a byproduct of the Industrial Revolution that needed human bodies in factories and human minds in offices. The artificial intelligence revolution is correcting that accident right now. Look around you. The layoff waves rolling through the technology sector are not a cyclical correction. They are the beginning of a systematic purge. Companies are discovering that they can operate with 10% of their former workforce and generate more profit than ever before. So the question you need to sit with tonight is not how do I get a raise? The question is, do I possess any skill, any asset, any capability that does not fall to zero in a world of superintelligence? Because if the answer is no, you already belong to the useless class. You just do not know it yet. Now, before the elite can replace you, there is a more immediate crisis that the technology optimists refuse to talk about honestly. Their gods are hungry, and they do not eat code. They eat watts. Let us expose one of the greatest lies of the 21st century: the cloud. When you hear that word, you probably picture something light and weightless floating above the earth. The cloud is not in the sky. The cloud is on the ground. It consists of millions of tons of steel, concrete, silicon, and copper. It is the single largest energy consumer that human civilization has ever built. And it is growing at a rate that our power infrastructure was never designed to handle. Musk has prophesied this directly. The bottleneck, he has said, is shifting from chips to transformers, from a shortage of silicon to a shortage of voltage. Let us do the math of what that actually means. A simple Google search consumes roughly 0.3 watt-hours of energy. A single request to a large language model like the ones powering today's artificial intelligence assistants consumes between 3 and 10 watt-hours. That is a factor of 10 to 30 times more energy per query. Now consider what happens when the entire global search infrastructure converts to artificial intelligence. Not if, when. The global energy demand of the internet does not inch upward, it multiplies overnight. This is not theory, it is already happening. In Ireland, data centers already consume more electricity than all private households combined. In the United States, the grid operators are warning that they risk rolling blackouts if the artificial intelligence build-out continues at its current pace. And here is where the war begins, the energy war, because the technology giants understand exactly what is coming, and they are not waiting for the public grid to catch up. Why do you think Amazon, Microsoft, and Google are suddenly buying their own nuclear power plants? Amazon purchased a data center situated directly adjacent to a nuclear facility in Pennsylvania, not to draw power from the grid, but to intercept it at the source before it ever enters the public system. Microsoft signed an agreement to restart the 3 Mile Island nuclear plant, which had been shut down for years. Do you understand what this means? The technology elite is decoupling from the public grid. They are constructing their own private energy infrastructure. While you are being asked to lower your thermostat to save the planet, Artificial intelligence servers are running at maximum capacity and draining the electricity that civilization needs to function. We are heading toward a world where you will compete against a machine for kilowatt hours, and that machine will pay any price. You will not. This leads us to the investment logic of this reset. If money is losing its value, which we will come to shortly, what becomes valuable? The only thing you cannot print. Physics. Look at uranium. Uranium is the new gold. When wind and solar cannot feed the insatiable data machines, and they cannot because artificial intelligence requires baseload power, electricity that flows 24 hours a day, and 7 days a week, nuclear energy is the only answer that works. Uranium stocks are no longer speculative. They are a bet on the continued existence of the internet itself. Look at copper. There is no artificial intelligence without copper. Every data center, every humanoid robot, every new power cable requires tons of it. The mines cannot keep up with production demand. We are heading toward a historical deficit that will make previous commodity shortages look minor. The infrastructure is the bottleneck, but nobody is telling you how brutal that bottleneck is going to become. Energy is not going to be rationed slowly. It is going to be rationed suddenly. In a world where artificial intelligence can produce everything, the ability to generate energy becomes the ultimate form of power. And if you are investing only in Nvidia or Microsoft today, you are buying the car. If you are buying uranium, copper, and energy infrastructure, you own the gas station. And in an energy crisis, the person who owns the gas station is king. The useless class will not just be unemployed, they will be energy poor. While the artificial intelligence gods live in climate-controlled server farms, the rest of us will be asking why the electricity bill has gone up another 50%. This is the second dimension of the Great Reset. The redistribution of energy from people to machines. There is a third layer to this collapse, one that reaches into our biology itself. It is called the bootloader theory. For those who are not software engineers, a bootloader is a tiny piece of code with exactly one purpose: to start the actual operating system. Now, once the main system is running, the bootloader shuts off. It becomes obsolete. The theory states that biological humanity is nothing more than the bootloader for digital superintelligence. We spent millions of years building the silicon, constructing the power plants, writing the algorithms. And now that the machine gods are waking up, our task is complete. We can be switched off. This sounds apocalyptic, but it is mathematically coherent. Consider the bandwidth problem that Musk speaks about frequently. A computer can transfer data at terabits per second. How do humans communicate? We type with 2 thumbs on a glass screen, a few bits per second at best. Compared to an artificial intelligence, we are like trees trying to communicate with lightning. We are too slow. We are cognitively frozen. And this is where the critical turning point comes, the one most pessimists miss entirely. There is an exit from the useless class, but it requires a radical step. That step is fusion. If you cannot beat the artificial intelligence, and you cannot, then you have to become it. This is the true strategy behind Neuralink. Most people believe it exists to help paralyzed patients regain motor function. That is the public relations version. The real purpose is to increase the bandwidth between the human brain and the digital cloud. Imagine not having to type a question. You think the question, and the artificial intelligence response arrives instantly in your mind as if it were your own memory. In that scenario, you are not replaced, you are upgraded. You become the cyborg. But until that bridge is built, the artificial intelligence gods still need something from you, something more valuable than money. Your data, but not the data you think. The machines have already consumed the entire internet. Wikipedia, academic papers, every book ever digitized, every forum thread ever written. That training phase is essentially complete. Now the models hunger for something new. They hunger for reality itself. Text is simple, but understanding the physical world, how to hold a cup without breaking it, how to navigate a crowd, how to perform a surgery, that is the last frontier. And who is providing that data? You are. Every time you drive a Tesla, you are training the artificial intelligence how to see. Every time you interact with a humanoid robot, you are feeding the model with human behavioral patterns. We have entered the data harvest phase. The large technology companies no longer need your clicks. They need what researchers call embodied data, information from the physical world, captured through bodies moving through real space. This is why Tesla has millions of vehicles on the road equipped with cameras. They are not cars. They are data collectors on wheels, mapping the world so the Optimus robot can navigate it. For investors, this means put your money into companies building the bridge between biology and machine. Companies that own the brain-computer interface space. Companies with access to massive volumes of real-world physical data. A pure software company like Adobe is endangered. A company like Tesla, with millions of robots operating in the physical world, possesses a moat that no purely digital competitor can cross. Data from the real world is the new oil. Synthetic data is only the fuel. Real data is the engine. We are standing at a fork in the history of the human species. The left path leads to irrelevance. You remain a biological human, slow, error-prone, and unnecessary, kept alive by a government stipend. The right path leads to symbiosis. You use the technology to break through your cognitive limits. The useless class is not being created because artificial intelligence is evil. It is being created because the unmodified biological human can no longer keep pace. The vanilla human, unchanged, unaugmented, unplugged, is a discontinued model. Look at your smartphone. You panic when you forget it at home. You are already a cyborg. The processor is just not in your head yet. Now let us talk about the blood of this system. Money. Nor because something is happening to money right now that most financial commentators are either too afraid or too confused to explain clearly. We are living through the greatest economic paradox in recorded history. On one side, you have artificial intelligence, the ultimate deflationary force. Technology makes everything cheaper. A lawyer used to cost $500 an hour. An artificial intelligence lawyer costs 5 cents. A design that used to require a human professional now costs less than $1 with the right software. In a normal world, prices for everything would be collapsing. Life would become spectacularly affordable. But look at your bills. Is life getting cheaper? No. Everything costs more. Why? Because our governments and central banks are in a state of controlled panic. The entire global financial system is built on debt, and debt can only be repaid if there is inflation. If prices fall, if deflation takes hold, the debt system collapses. Governments go bankrupt, banks fail. So the central banks have only one option: They must fight the deflationary force of technology by printing money at a scale that would make the Weimar Republic look like a minor hiccup. The universal basic income that politicians dream about is not charity. It is a mechanical necessity. If robots receive no salaries, they pay no taxes and buy no products. The consumer economy seizes up, so the government prints money and distributes it to people so they can spend it, keeping the illusion of an economy alive. This leads to what economists are calling the everything bubble. You have asked yourself why the stock market is hitting all-time highs when the real economy is struggling. Why housing is unaffordable even as interest rates have risen. It is not because the economy is strong. It is because money is weak. We are watching monetary debasement in real time. The elite is already fleeing cash. They know the dollar, the euro, and the Japanese yen are structurally compromised. So they are buying everything that cannot be printed. They are buying shares in companies with pricing power, Nvidia, Microsoft. They are buying land. Bill Gates is the largest private farmland owner in the United States. Why? Because you cannot print land. They are buying Bitcoin. BlackRock, the largest asset manager in the world, is not purchasing Bitcoin because they have suddenly become cryptocurrency enthusiasts. They are purchasing it because it is the only asset in the digital space with an absolutely fixed supply. 21 million. Full stop. This is the Cantillon effect on steroids. The Cantillon effect describes how whoever sits closest to the money printer, technology companies, banks, gets rich. Whoever sits furthest away, workers, retirees, gets only the inflation. In the era of artificial general intelligence, this effect becomes extreme. The artificial intelligence companies generate infinite wealth. The central banks print infinite money to stabilize the system. And you, if you keep your savings in a bank account, will be systematically expropriated. Saving in this environment is not a virtue. It is financial self-destruction. We are heading toward a world with two kinds of money: our programmable money, central bank digital currencies, the money you receive as basic income. It will have an expiration date. It will tell you what you are allowed to purchase. No red meat, no travel, only approved digital goods. This is the money designed for the useless class. Then there is free money, hard assets, gold, Bitcoin, commodities, land. This is the money of the elite, the money that guarantees privacy and freedom. The Great Reset is, at its core, a currency cut. The debts will be inflated away, and the middle class will be liquidated in the process. Your strategy must be out of paper into substance. Own the robots through stocks. Own the energy through uranium and copper. Own the scarcity through Bitcoin and gold. So how do you survive the Great Reset 2.0? How do you build a position that holds when the wave arrives? The answer lies in a concept from the risk researcher Nassim Taleb: anti-fragility. You cannot afford to try to stay stable. Stable is dead. You need to build a system that gets stronger through chaos. Here is your battle plan. It is built on what Taleb calls the barbell strategy. First, kill the middle. The middle class is the kill zone. Average jobs, average savings, accounts, average index funds. All of it will be consumed by artificial intelligence and inflation. Go to the extremes. On one side, extreme safety. Own things that cannot go to zero. Gold, land, a paid-off home, Bitcoin in your own cold storage. On the other side, extreme risk. Invest in artificial intelligence startups. Bet on the most disruptive technologies. Avoid everything in between. Government bonds and life insurance policies are burning buildings. Nay, second, become the centaur. Stop fighting the machine. The battle of human versus machine is over. The machine won. The new fight is human plus machine against human without machine. In mythology, the centaur was half human, half horse. In the future economy, you are half human, half algorithm. Do not learn to code. The artificial intelligence codes better than you. Learn to orchestrate. Become the conductor. Your value is not in doing the work. It is in giving the artificial intelligence the right instructions and evaluating the results. Prompt engineering is not a technical skill. It is a psychological one. It is the art of negotiating with a foreign intelligence. Third, build your tribe. In the digital age, physical trust is the most expensive commodity in existence. When deep fakes can fabricate any phone call and any video, you cannot know who is real online. Build a network of people you can physically verify, a local community of craftspeople, farmers, doctors, engineers. If the digital network fails, through a cyber attack, a solar storm, or a deliberate infrastructure shutdown, your neighbor is more valuable than your portfolio. The lone wolf dies in winter. The tribe survives. The Great Reset is not an event you can hide from. It is a filter. It filters humanity into two groups: those who cling to the past, their degrees, their fiat savings, their identity as workers. They become the useless class. And those who let go, those who embrace the technology, who adapt, who own hard assets and break through their cognitive limits, they become the architects of the new world. You now have the knowledge. You know the four horsemen of this apocalypse: obsolescence, energy scarcity, data harvesting, and monetary debasement. Knowledge is potential. Action is power. The question is no longer whether the Great Reset is coming. It is already here. The lines are being drawn right now between those who understand what is happening and those who are too comfortable to look. History does not reward the comfortable. It rewards the prepared. Every empire, every currency, every system built on debt and illusion has eventually been corrected by reality. We are living through that correction. The filter is running. Which side of it you land on is still, for a very short window of time, a choice. If this hit you differently than anything you have watched recently, that feeling is important. Do not let it fade. Hit the like button if you think more people need to hear this, because the YouTube algorithm buries the truth and amplifies the comfortable. Subscribe and turn on notifications, because what is coming in the next videos goes even deeper. Specific assets that have survived every currency collapse in the last 500 years, and exactly how to position yourself before the window closes. The clock is already running.